She came for a Christmas blind date, only to be ignored like she didn't exist. He came for the same date, but carried a pain deeper than winter itself. She thought the night was ruined, until two tiny voices tugged at her coat and whispered, "Miss, will you be our mom?" And in that single moment, her shattered heart began to glow again. If you believe love sometimes enters your life from the most unexpected places, then hit like, and let's begin this Christmas miracle. It was Christmas Eve. Snow fell gently across the city streets, glowing under golden lights and decorated trees. Couples laughed, families gathered, children ran with excitement. But Sarah stood alone, adjusting her long beige coat, feeling her nerves tighten with every second. She was 29, warm-hearted, humble, and always putting others first. But life hadn't rewarded her with love. Years of failed relationships, unanswered messages, and last-minute cancellations had carved silent scars in her heart. Her best friend insisted on setting up a blind date to restore her Christmas spirit, so Sarah agreed. She walked into the cafe, a warm, cozy place filled with cinnamon scents and Christmas music. Her eyes scanned the room and landed on a man sitting at a corner table. Tall, sharp jaw, dark coat, and an expression heavy with exhaustion. His name was Daniel, widower, single father of 5-year-old twin girls, a man who hadn't smiled in months. This was the man she was supposed to meet. She approached slowly, softly. "Hi, I'm Sarah." Daniel looked up, then immediately looked away. "Oh, right." His tone was flat, emotionless, cold. He kept staring at his phone, barely acknowledging her existence. Sarah sat, folding her hands. She tried a conversation. She tried small talk. She even complimented the cafe decorations. But Daniel barely answered. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes with one-word replies. Minutes felt like hours. The Christmas lights outside sparkled beautifully, but inside her heart, something dimmed. She swallowed her disappointment as he continued ignoring her, checking his watch, typing on his phone, avoiding eye contact. Finally, he stood up. "Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come. I have responsibilities. I don't have time for this." He walked out without waiting for her reply. Sarah sat there motionless, silent, embarrassed, alone. Her eyes stung. "This is my Christmas," she whispered to herself. "A night to remind me that I'm not enough." She grabbed her purse and stepped outside into the cold night. Outside, snowflakes danced around her. Couples held hands. Children played. Sarah walked slowly, hugging herself for warmth. Not from the cold, but from the loneliness settling in her chest. She stopped at a park bench and sat down. "Maybe I'm just meant to be alone," she whispered. But suddenly, two tiny figures approached her. Two little girls in red Christmas coats, holding hands, identical curls bouncing in the wind, big brown eyes, pink cheeks from the cold. They looked around nervously, clearly not supposed to be out alone. One of them tugged on Sarah's sleeve. "Miss, are you sad?" Sarah blinked, surprised. I guess a little." The other girl stepped closer. "You shouldn't be sad on Christmas," she whispered softly. Sarah smiled weakly. "You're right." The first girl tilted her head. "You're very pretty. Like the angels on our tree." Sarah covered her mouth, touched. She knelt down so she was at their height. "What are your names?" "I'm Emily," said the girl on the left. "And I'm Emma," said the girl on the right. Twins. Identical. Adorable. Pure. Sarah looked around. "Where are your parents?" The girls looked down. "Our dad is inside the cafe," Emma said softly. "But he's sad." "He never smiles," Emily added. Sarah felt her heart tighten. "What happened?" The girls hesitated. Then Emma whispered, "Our mommy went to heaven." Sarah froze. Her breath caught. Her chest tightened. But before she could speak, Emily stepped closer, eyes shining with innocence. "We saw you with Daddy," she said. "But he didn't smile at you." Emma nodded. "He doesn't smile at anyone anymore." Sarah swallowed a lump in her throat. "I'm sorry, sweethearts." Both girls suddenly looked up at her with hopeful eyes. "Miss," Emma whispered, "would you like to be our friend?" The simplicity, the purity, the honesty. Sarah smiled, a real one. "Yes," she whispered. "I'd love to." The twins sat beside Sarah on the bench, talking like they had known her their whole lives. They told her about their mother's favorite Christmas song, how their father worked too much, how he never laughed anymore, how they prayed every night for someone to make him smile again. Sarah's heart ached for them. She didn't know why, but she felt connected to these girls, like destiny had placed them in her path. Suddenly, Emily pointed behind Sarah. "Daddy!" Sarah turned. Daniel stood there, breathing heavily, panic in his eyes. "Emily! Emma!" he shouted, rushing toward them. He grabbed them and knelt, hugging them tightly. "Don't ever run off like that again," he said, voice cracking. The girls hugged him back. "It's okay, Daddy," Emily whispered. "We found her." Daniel looked up, and his eyes met Sarah's. Recognition, regret, guilt. He stood slowly. I'm sorry about earlier," he said quietly. "I shouldn't have walked out." Sarah offered a gentle smile. "It's all right." But the twins weren't done. They ran to Sarah, grabbed her hands, and pulled her toward their father. "Daddy," Emma said seriously, pointing at Sarah. "She's really nice." "And she wasn't sad when you ignored her," Emily added. Daniel's face flushed with embarrassment. "Girls." But Emma interrupted with the innocence only a child could carry. "Daddy, can she be our mom?" Daniel froze. Sarah's breath vanished. The world around them fell silent, and the snow kept falling softly. A single question, from two little girls, froze the world around them. "Daddy, can she be our mom?" And that question would change 3 lives forever. Because sometimes, love doesn't knock politely. It arrives unexpectedly, on a snowy Christmas night. The cold wind brushed across the park. Snowflakes landed silently on their coats, and Daniel stood completely still, like someone had pressed pause on his heart. "Girls, no," he whispered shakily. "You can't just ask people that." But Emma looked up with wide, innocent eyes. "But Daddy," she smiled at us. Emily nodded. "And she listened to us, just like Mommy used to." Daniel's breath trembled. Sarah took a gentle step forward. "It's okay," she whispered. "They're just sweet little angels." Daniel swallowed hard. His eyes glistened, not with anger, but with something deeper, something he'd been running from. Pain, memories, loss. He exhaled shakily. "Girls, your mom." His voice cracked. "She can't be replaced." Both twins hugged his legs tightly. "We know," Emma whispered. "But Mommy said, someone will come one day who makes you smile again." Emily nodded with soft certainty. "And when we saw her, we just knew." Sarah felt her heart bend. Not break, not shatter. Just bend. Because some truths are too heavy and too innocent to ignore. Daniel finally met Sarah's eyes. And, for the first time that evening, he truly looked at her. Not at her coat. Not at her hands. Not at her posture. But at her heart. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for everything earlier. I shouldn't have ignored you." Sarah smiled softly. "Everyone has bad days." He shook his head. "You didn't deserve that." Silence filled the air, soft, gentle, and strangely warm. The twins, meanwhile, held Sarah's hands like she already belonged to them. "Would you walk with us?" Daniel asked hesitantly. Sarah nodded, and together they walked through the snowy park, 4 shadows merging into one. The Christmas market glowed with tiny lights. The scent of hot cocoa and roasted nuts filled the air. Music played softly from a nearby stage. Emily tugged Sarah's coat. "Can we go look at the lights with you?" Sarah laughed. "Of course." Emma grabbed her other hand. "You can choose our ornaments." Daniel watched as the girls pulled Sarah along, laughing, talking, shining in ways he hadn't seen in months, and something inside him cracked open. He approached with 2 cups of cocoa. "One for you," he said, offering one to Sarah. "And one little one for me?" She chuckled. "You don't seem like a cocoa person." He smiled. A small, weak smile, but a real one. "Tonight I might surprise you." They walked together, sipping warm cocoa, the twins running around them like excited snowflakes. Sarah looked at Daniel. "You're a good father." His jaw tightened. No, I'm trying. But I've failed a lot. She shook her head gently. Trying is what makes you good. Those words hit him deeper than she realized. They reached a quiet corner of the market. The twins were decorating a small Christmas tree nearby. Daniel exhaled deeply. I haven't talked about this in a long time, he said softly. Sarah stood beside him, listening. My wife, Lena, died 2 years ago. Car accident. She was on her way to pick up the girls from school. Sarah felt her heart tighten. She was everything. My strength, my balance, my peace. And when she died, I shut down. He looked at Sarah with raw honesty. I didn't ignore you because you weren't good enough. I ignored you because I was afraid of feeling anything again. Sarah touched his arm gently. I understand. More than you think. He looked surprised. How? Sarah stared at the glowing tree. I was engaged once. He left me 2 weeks before the wedding. Said I was too ordinary for him. I stopped believing in love after that. Silence settled. 2 wounded hearts. Finally seen. Finally understood. The twins ran back and hugged them both at the same time. Daddy, look, Emily said proudly. All 4 of us put ornaments on the tree. Daniel glanced at Sarah. You helped them? She smiled warmly. They asked me nicely. And Daniel felt something inside him melt, a softness he thought he had buried forever. Suddenly, Emma tugged Sarah's hand. Come with us. Sarah followed the twins to a little stall selling wooden keepsakes. The girls whispered to the vendor. He nodded, smiled, and handed them a small box. They ran back to Daniel and Sarah. Open it, they said together. Sarah opened the box, and her breath caught. Inside was a wooden ornament shaped like a heart. On it was carved. Our Christmas wish came true. Emily and Emma. Sarah covered her mouth, tears rising. Daniel froze. His heart thundered. His breath stalled. This wasn't planned. Not forced. Not pushed. This was pure love. The girls hugged Sarah tightly. Miss Sarah, Emma whispered against her coat. Can you be in our family? Emily nodded softly. We prayed for someone kind. God sent you. Sarah's tears finally fell. Daniel stepped forward, voice trembling. Sarah, I know this is sudden. I know we barely know each other. But I've seen more kindness from you tonight than I've seen in a long time. He reached for her hands, hesitantly, respectfully. I don't know where this is going, but I want to try. For the girls. For myself. For you. The world faded. Only the 4 of them remained, wrapped in falling snow, and something that felt like destiny. Sarah whispered back, I want to try too. They walked back through the snowy park. Daniel on one side, Sarah on the other. Twins between them, holding both their hands. A new family, born not by blood, but by kindness, loss, hope, and Christmas magic. Just before reaching the car, Emily looked up. Miss Sarah? Yes, sweetheart. Does this mean you'll be here on Christmas morning? Sarah knelt, cupping their cheeks. I'll be here. Every Christmas morning. Daniel exhaled a trembling breath, a breath he'd been holding for years. He whispered softly, Thank you. For bringing light back into our lives. Sarah smiled through tears. You all brought it back into mine. And above them, the Christmas lights glowed brighter, as if heaven itself smiled at this new beginning.